remote meetings, and then we will begin and continue our meeting. In response to Governor Baker's declaration of a public health emergency and the related emergency executive order dated March 12th, 2020, the Everett Zoning Board of Appeals shall be meeting remotely until further notice. The audio conferencing application Zoom will be used for this purpose. An online link and telephone access number will be provided on all meeting agendas and also on the city's website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we'll post on the city's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. This application will permit the public to access and participate in future board meetings and hearings. Instructions for joining meetings in this manner will be provided on the city and the city clerk's websites. We extend our thanks for your understanding and the participation in this manner, and which is intended to keep members of the board and the public safe. Okay, so getting to the traditional rules of the zoning board meetings. I'd like, as I called the meeting to order, I'm going to briefly explain the procedures to follow. Okay, I will read the petitions and the petitioner will state his or her reasons for the variance of the permit. At that time, the public meeting will open, which part of the public meeting now, we have been carrying it over for the next week from meeting to meeting, just to give proper response due to the remote style of meetings. So all those in favor will be heard, then all those opposed will be heard. At that time, after the public portion is heard, the petitioner shall have the right to rebut or explain any opposition. It will take a 4-yes vote in favor to be granted a variance or a special permit. So today we're going to start with old business, but before that, at this time, I'd like to have the clerk call the roll, please. Or introduce the members, rather. Alberta?
John Fraser.
Yeah.
Roger Thistle.
Yeah.
Paul Colometer.
Yeah.
Michael Jane Tome.
You're on mute, Michael.
Mike, we can't hear you.
Sorry, here.
You're all right.
Chairwoman Grassi.
Here, and the clerk is Roberta Supa tonight, okay?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to open up the meeting with old business and take petition 2470 off the table, please. 302 Broadway.
Second.
Did you second that, John?
Yes.
Okay, there's been a motion to take old business off the table, petition for 302 Broadway, and it has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A petition on, sorry.
2470.
Yep, 2470, sorry about that. Petition 2470, 302 Broadway. At this time, we are just going to see if there's anyone from the public comments that wanted to comment from the last time. Before we do that, I'm going to read just the summary here of what the petition is about. So 302 Broadway, Everett, Mass. Reason for denial. Applicant currently has a building permit number B19668 to construct a 10-unit residential structure containing 15 parking spaces at the above mentioned property. The Board of Appeals issued a parking variance on June 5th, 2016, allowing for the shortage of 5 parking spaces. Applicant now seeks to increase the residential unit count to 15 without change to the existing structure dimensions while providing 15 parking spaces. So at this time, is there any added public comments to this particular petition number 2470-302 Broadway?
Mary, Madam Chairwoman, Councilor Michael McLaughlin, 9 Baldwin Place. Good evening, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I wanted to come tonight to, again, stress my pleasure and my pleased with this project. It was a good project previously. It's going to be even better. The fact that we're going to have 1-bedroom units instead of 2-bedroom units would bring in more families. But the fact that Mr. Kenworthy wants to bring in all 1-bedroom units, I did see the windows get installed, and I thought to myself, I better go in and make sure that there was nothing else being done there. He did enclose just the windows so that the wood would not be subject to rain or to heat.
Mr. McLaughlin, I think you
We lost him.
You're
Yeah,
frozen.
Today has not been a good day in technology. If anybody has T-Mobile.
Michael, could you repeat the last minute, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I visited the site after seeing the windows go in so that I could assure that there was no other additional construction being done there. Understanding that the wood could not be subject to rain or to heat and so forth. They did install the windows just to close up the structure. Not even all 10 units have been framed out, never mind additional units. The front part has just been the part that was framed out. So I saw that on Saturday or Friday I was there. And again, I think this will be a great project for the neighborhood, and it will bring in less vehicles, less traffic, less residents to the neighborhood, not changing the footprint of the property. So
Okay, thank you, Mr. McLaughlin.
Madam Chairman, you going to ask for questions from the board?
Yes, I was just waiting to make sure there were no other people, and I'm going to
Okay,
kick it over
okay,
to the
thank
board
you.
right now, actually. I
Thank
just
you.
want to make sure, Mr. Soper, there's nobody waiting to come in to comment on this particular petition, correct? All right, so at this time, I'm going to say questions from the board, please. Any of the board members have questions to continue? I believe that's where we left off last time anyhow. Mr. Rossi, do you want to just
Yes.
give us an update on anything before we ask our questions?
Yes, so on the last meeting, there was a concern, I think, from you and Mr. D'Antoni regarding exiting the building and concerns like how that can be addressed. So I pulled the site plan decision. I'm not sure if I sent it over to Jimmy this week. In the site plan decision, if you look at paragraph number 11, it specifically states that there will be signage and arrows that you cannot take a left turn coming out of the property. It's right turn only. And it's also a double line coming from the rotary side, so you can't actually take a left going into the property. That was already set up on the site plan itself and the site plan decision as a condition to address that concern. I know you guys brought it up, so I did pull the site plan decision for that. Also, I got a call today that there was concerns that Mr. Kenworthy might have already framed out the other 5 units and changed the windows. I personally went down there and I took pictures. So I'm trying to do this on my video, so maybe you guys can see it or not. But this video, this picture here, that's me. That's in the back of the building. And I'm pointing at those 2 openings. And then I also took pictures of every floor. Second, bear with me, I'm sorry. And these are the floors. One second, let me just aim it. I'm sorry.
You get it?
See, these are all the floors. And I'm going to forward an email if I can, but I took it. So it's only the back of the building. Why it's important, because the back of the building is the only units that are going to be changed. The part of the plan. So the front units don't change. It's just the back. They'll be cut up. So what I did is I took a picture of each floor. I can actually zoom in on it now. Hold on one second. See? That's one floor right there. Let me see here. Apologize. That's another floor here. So I did all 3 floors. So why I referenced that is that he left the back of the building as a shell waiting to see what the board decides. The only thing he did do is why I pointed at those openings is that the reason why he didn't put windows there and he did headers that are big, that if the board was inclined to approve it, then he doesn't have to change the exterior structure. He can just keep the same opening. If they denied it, then he'd close in that opening to put a window there. So that's the only thing he did, which really doesn't change anything. It's easier to close than it is to open on an exterior shell, but nothing was framed. So I personally went down there myself to make sure.
Okay.
Mr. Rossi, on that note, Mary, I'm going to interject here. On that note, how much trouble would it be for any of the members to have a site view like you did? Because I can't imagine how they're going to split those units up in the back. Now, with as much work has been done, I just don't get it.
So if you look at the plans, so that right now there's 7 units framed out. That's the front of the building. So if you look, one of the middle unit is like a duplex, Mike. So in the front of the building. So those are the 7. So that back of the building was 1 unit. If you look at the plan, 1 unit per floor. That's how you get your 10. So basically,
Oh,
with
you're
the,
gonna split it in half
correct.
down the back of the middle of the back of the building.
You got it. Then they're going to share the same hallway and they're going to share the same stairwells, front and back. Right now, you can't get to the second floor. I had to go up like a 20-foot ladder to get to the double, and they did the elevator shaft. So to cut it up is actually pretty easy, Mike. You're basically just splitting in half. That's why I wanted to show you the shell itself in the back, if it
Okay.
made sense.
I told you, if you tell me that you saw it and that's,
No, I did, but I wanted to see it. That's why I went down. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. That's why I took pictures.
Michael, you're on mute.
yeah, I saw that again. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rossi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rossi. Any other
you.
questions from the board?
I'm good.
Well, actually, one more concern I have. Mr. Rossi, whose responsibility is it gonna be to put the signage up? In other words, before you leave the building, no left turn, that type of thing?
It's actually part of the site plan decision
Okay.
and the site plan itself. So actually, if you look at the site plan, it actually shows where you got to put the sign, the arrows, everything. So you can't even get a certificate of occupancy without it.
That's the contractor's responsibility?
Yeah, the developers, you can't even get a certificate of occupancy without it.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Madam Chairman, I'm willing to make a motion for favorable action.
Roger Dissel, second that
With the,
motion.
well, with the same conditions as we had with the 10 spots. I want the conditions to obviously to follow.
So the no parking permit,
No parking permits and whatever else we added at that time.
I think,
Maybe Robin can tell us that. Robin, does that automatically, so this is kind of like updating a variance we already gave them.
I'll go outside.
So the conditions we made back then, do we have to make them again with this?
I think you can just articulate that your motion is for favorable action, subject to all of the conditions that were in the original approval.
Okay, which is what I just said. Okay, thank you.
all right, just say that one more time, Mike, clearly, so it can be
Okay,
seconded.
so favorable action, incorporating all the conditions we made when we gave them the variance last year for 10 units.
Okay,
And any that were added for this piece of property as well. I don't think there was, we're gonna go with the residential, which the same as before.
So we
So I
have a
can't think
motion-
of anything else.
so we have a motion for favorable action to include and extend the same conditions as the previous variances and permits passed before, and we need that to be seconded.
Roger Dissel, second that motion.
So we have a motion for favorable action, and it's been seconded. Roberta, could you please call the roll?
Yes. John Frazier.
Yes. No, we can't hear you, Roberta.
Roger Thistle.
Yes,
Paul Colometta.
No,
Michael Jane Tone.
Yes,
And Mary Gerasi.
Yes. So your petition has been approved, and we have the 20 days to receive your paperwork and get it filed.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, guys.
okay, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to take 2471 old business off the table. That's 65 Norman Street.
Second that.
Okay, there's been a motion to take 2565 Norman Street off the table, and that's petition number 2471, and it's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mike,
Okay, so just a gentle reminder to the public forum that because we are on Zoom and it is open, I just want to remind everybody to state your first name and your last name and your address if you're going to speak, and to limit your what you're going to say to be between 2 and 3 minutes, okay? Because we need to keep the meeting moving as well. All right? Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to quickly summarize. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just summarize what this petition is about for the public forum, and then we will continue it that way. So this is regarding 65 Norman Street. The reason for denial remove all existing structures and construct a new building with 396 residential apartments and up to 1,500 square feet of commercial space. The apartment community is proposed to consist of four stories of wood frame over 2 stories of podium-style parking. The property is within the Riverfront Overlay zoning district containing 246,663 square foot, 5.6 acres. The project will provide approximately 500 parking spaces, and if the reserved parking area is needed or constructed, it's going to also hold up to 545 parking spaces. Plans and documents are submitted as follows. Application for building permit, applications for sign permits, 1 for each building sign and 1 for monument sign. Civil plans prepared by Bowler dated March 13th, 2020, sheet C1 to C2. Setback exhibits prepared by Bowler dated March 13th, 2020, sheets EXH-1 to EXH-2. Architectural plans prepared by the architectural team dated March 10th, 2020, sheets T0 to 0.01 to A5 to 0.01, and landscaping plans prepared by Verdant Landscape Architecture dated March 10th, 2020, sheet L1, and signage plans prepared by Natural Graphics Incorporated dated March 12th, 2020, sheets 01 to 04. Okay, so that's the summary. Mr. O'Neill, Attorney O'Neill,
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman.
do you have any in particular people here extra tonight for the public forum, or how are we with that? I know we read in some letters and you've had a lot of public interaction between planning and here, so I'm not sure where you stand with that.
I don't know that there's anyone that wishes to come on air to comment. I did submit 5 additional letters of support in favor of the project. I don't know if those have been received by the board. Letters from area residents and interested parties, which I forwarded along. Hopefully they're in the record, but they were a product of the outreach that has continued and been a hallmark of this project. It arose after last week's original airing of our presentation, where we told you a little bit about the project, and not to rehash that, but we know that this is the 5.7 acre parcel down on the corner of Norman Street and Air Force Road, replacing the cargo container site with a 396 unit apartment building. And at Alice, so with us tonight is the development team, and including Dan Lee, Regional President of LMC, Lennar Multifamily Communities, co-developer Patrick Cleary of FX Investments, LMC Counsel Chris Renier, Tom Schultz of the architectural team, Katia Pozzialdo of Landscape, as well as our engineers from Bowler Engineering, Steve Martirano and Zach Richards. Those letters from community members were part of the outreach. It was facilitated and coordinated and cooperated with by our ward councilor, Mike McLaughlin, who really dug in and talked to the community, got me out talking to the community where I had a lot of interaction, really good interaction with people, which was, yeah, we love the project. We know about the project. We heard about it. We got the mailings, but we don't have anything bad to say, so we're not going to show up at a hearing. So it's been all good. Further of that public outreach, we've had some really significant interaction with the planning staff, the building department, and our building commissioner to develop some elements of this project that will really help to add to the community connectivity of it. And specifically to bring into the plan and thank you, Alice, for reading my mind and saying go to the next slide, specifically to bring in a walkway that completes the perimeter of the project, leaving that open to pedestrian access. If you're seeing the plan in color, you'll see it as the light blue. Everything in light blue is site located pedestrian walkway. And obviously to orient you to the plan, the serpentine bottom of this is Air Force Road. The perpendicular to the left is Norman Street. And really the new part of this plan that has come out of our really some strong advocacy by the city is the northern facing, and I know there's not an orientation geographically on this, but to the upper right-hand side of the building, Air Force Road side, all the way to the most westerly corner of the building, up there where it says BOH at back of house and loading area. So that development has been, you can see if you can, the date of this, we worked on that over the weekend to really produce a result that has been of our mind and on the mind of the city in creating some pedestrian connectivity here. The walkway is 5 feet wide. The covered portions are shown in red, and the rest of it is open to the sky. And that was a great development, and we appreciate the input from Commissioner Soper on that, and all of the planning staff that helped in getting that made part of this project. So with that, the other part of the outreach has been, again, we re-engaged with our neighbors, just kind of staying in touch. And I can't say that anything has changed. Our industrial neighbors are again telling us that their goal is to welcome us to the community, and their expectation is to that we will respect their operations, not interfere with their operations, and bring a great project to the city that fits into a vibrant part of the city that will continue to grow in vibrancy. And I don't get tired of saying it. This is truly a game-changing development that will bring really continue the revitalization of that area. I went through last time at great length and perhaps put some viewers to sleep with my recitation of the 13 counts of zoning relief that we were seeking. Those are obviously what we're asking this board to approve so that we can bring this great plan that again brings over an acre of open space and creates a truly world-class gateway to our new Riverside Park and Riverside amenities that will be coming into this area. So that's our update. We're open to any questions that the board might bring in. Thank you. That's the westerly elevation, looking at maybe from the vantage point of Teddy Peanut Butter, one of our industrial neighbors down there in a valuable part of this community.
Okay. So at this time, I'd like to open up the board for questions, and I would actually like to start. I have a couple of questions. So pertaining to the sidewalk condition, Mr. Attorney O'Neill, I just want to be sure. So you've come back now. I know that there's been discussion back and forth and how we originally suggested that the sidewalk be on the easement, that 40-foot passageway that you're going to create for driving for vehicles for the businesses in the industry down there and for yourself. And you were hesitant with that, which is okay. So are you showing us here? I just want to clarify that you've agreed to the sidewalk, but you're going to pull it into your property?
Precisely.
In those exact areas, what I'm seeing is correct.
Yeah, where you see that you're looking at the project update walkway connectivity plan.
Yep.
Those, what you see there in blue.
So
It's
this
the
one
new
is
part.
Yep.
That's the new part that is being highlighted, a little bit around there. But yes, that is going to be entirely on our property.
As opposed to out here on the easement, we're going to have it in here.
Correct. And that, just to be clear, that easement exists. We're as part of our planning board site plan approval, we're repeating it. But that easement exists and that use is held by others. So we are taking the sidewalk into our, non-easement
Sure.
encumbered space.
And you know what, that's fine. One question I do have is, since you're pulling the sidewalk back in closer, that will take up some of the greenage, shrub, bush, trees, whatever. So in your plan, will there be included a way to enhance some of that still and have some shrub, bush through the sidewalk or however? Is that
So
included?
one of the elements of relief that has been in our request is, and has been the landscaping buffer. So while it's 5 feet and it's really bringing us almost, we're down to very small tolerances. So, there's not going to be significant greenery there, but that is again, an element of relief that we've been seeking. And it's really at the, at the side of the property, where there really isn't a lot going on yet. Someday, as things change, and this was kind of our approach with the planning board, we're still, we still have easement rights over our side, and we own 20 feet of that 40-foot easement. So as things change and things may develop in that area, that will be, we're never going to need a 25-foot sidewalk. We're
Right.
not, so there will be an opportunity in the future to do some aesthetic work back there.
While you're cutting the sidewalk, maybe it would be easier, maybe if you could think about just some of it now, because while you're there, you may as well get some of it added in, some trees, some shrub, not a lot, but some green, there should be some greenery there. That's what we'd like to see if possible.
The sidewalks can be, there's a minimum passage width. And I know that Mr. Soper could tell us to the centimeter what that minimum passage width is. We're building a 5-foot walkway. Within that, there may be opportunities without, we want to keep this a pathway, right? We want this to be connectivity. So there may be room to put a potted tree or some planting boxes. So there's definitely going to be an opportunity there, and I don't want to say we can plant trees when we simply don't have space.
So I'm gonna dare to say this, but just the thought, and you can think about it. What about a 6-foot sidewalk? So you have a little bit of area to decorate it, since you have so much space anyway.
Well, we don't have space. It's 'cause, again, the fact of that easement is it's not ours.
Okay.
If we could build on that easement, we wouldn't have redesigned our whole building to accommodate the walkway. So I think, like any sidewalk, there are opportunities to have something better than simply a stretch of concrete. Keep in mind that we want to have passage. So we can't move the building. We don't have 6 feet everywhere.
Okay.
There are portions where we might, and I'm recalling, these plans don't show down to the inch. At most, there's very little room for greenery.
Okay. So in part of this too, part of one of the conditions that wraps in with this is that I want it written in that the applicant shall permit members of the public at all times to use these access and these sidewalks, that this community, is not a gated community, that these sidewalks are there. So if the public needs to walk on them, they can for passage.
Absolutely. That's very much our understanding. And that it's a open walkway. As you can look at the plan, it leads from, we didn't highlight the City of Everett sidewalks. We weren't really comfortable taking credit for the full, the full sidewalks that are already there now.
Okay.
But our walkways all tie into city sidewalks. There will be no gates. There will be no signs saying do not pass. The covered portions, as was true at our planning board stage, those will be lighted. They won't be dark. They'll be very welcoming. And we want this to be a vibrant part of the community. That's going to be the strength of this area. So we are anything but a gated community, Madam Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And one other bit before, I know I'm hogging the time here, but real quick. Well, actually, no, I'll hold off on that. Anyone else from the board have questions now that they'd like to ask?
Madam Chairman, I do have a couple of questions, please. The culvert that is not far from the entrance to this complex. You were talking about that there was going to be some repairs to it, because when I use that road during a heavy rainstorm, you can't even get down there. So what did you tell me was going to be done to that infrastructure?
Mr. Danton, is that a question to me?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
Well, the groundwater, the ground disturbance and the stormwater work is going to be overseen by the DPW. So we are submitting and going to be working with the city to make sure that this place drains and is passable. I don't recall a specific, level of detail, and I could call upon one of the engineers, maybe Steve Martirano, to comment more towards that issue.
Yeah, that'd be great, Dave. Thanks. Steve Martirano from Bowler, for the record. So there's two things going on, and I think the culvert repairs that we had talked about were relative to just some inspections on some pipes that run through the property, and those aren't drainage. There's 2 state sewers and a city sewer that are on the property that we need to just make sure, obviously, that we don't impact as part of the project. So there'd be some video inspections and making sure those are in good operating condition. For the drainage, we're actually taking a bunch of water out of the system, so lessening the burden. So lessening the burden on the downstream system and lessening the burden on that culvert, because we're retaining a lot of that stormwater on our property, and we're infiltrating, and we have some systems. Should be no negative impacts on the drain system, and there should be just straight improvements on quality and quantity from the project.
Does I don't know, is Jim Soper still on? Does anybody know if there is a plan to do some extensive work to the culvert down there? Does anybody know? Maybe not.
Madam Chairwoman, Michael McLaughlin, can I answer that as a city councilor?
There you go.
Hey, Michael.
I apologize for chiming in there. Just Mr. Danton, yes, there is ongoing discussions about how to fix the culvert down there with DPW and engineering department. We were hoping to be able to fast track all of that, but with this pandemic, things have definitely been slower than we hoped. But there are plans and discussions about how to fix that culvert down there.
That was a concern when we okayed the parking lot for the casino down there. Everybody was speaking about the water, and I've of course experienced it myself going down there. So I just want to make sure that this isn't going to make it much worse down there.
As I think Steve commented, anything but. This site is almost entirely paved as we speak, so just opening up the surface area above and beyond the work that we will be doing with the engineering department is going to make for a better situation.
I have one final question. So this public walkway, it's all going to be on your property, and it will be maintained by the property for 12-month access,
Correct.
and lighted, as you said, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Attorney O'Neill, could you just open up the middle so we can see the more faces again when we get ready for motions? It's a little bit easier.
So do you want to
Allison.
drop the? Yep.
I think Allison has to take the, yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Are there any other questions by the board?
So, Madam Chairman, I will make a motion for favorable action.
Hold
Are you
on,
ready?
I don't think
Okay.
you didn't, ask if there's any final public comments.
Oh, is there any, I did before he started talking, but I'll do it again.
Okay, you did the word first, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, are there any final public comments here on this meeting today?
Yeah, this is Tom Philbin. Could I comment?
Sure.
Sure. Please state your first, last name and address, please, Mr. Philbin.
Yep. It's Tom Philbin, Communications Director, City of Everett. I live at 6 Planters Street in Salem. Shall I begin?
Yes.
Sure, please, thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to thank Dan Lee and the entire team for this great project. It's been a priority for the mayor to revitalize the waterfront and open up access for our residents to get down to the waterfront. From Encore to the Everett River Walk, to the canoe and kayak launch that just came in, the waterfront has changed dramatically. And we're currently working with National Grid to try to increase the Everett River Walk all the way from Encore to Malden Center, actually, along the Malden River. So we're working hard on that. Over the past weekend, we did a drive-in theater at River Green Park. The place was packed. I've been down there on the weekends. It's been packed. And the key to all of this is signage, pedestrian access, and getting people from Main Street in Everett and everywhere in Everett down to the water, down to the restaurants, down to the breweries, down to the rock climbing gyms, all through there. All that is getting redeveloped. This development is correct. It's going to be a game changer down there. So we're really excited about it. And I'm very encouraged that they have decided, Lanier's decided to help us out with putting in those sidewalks around the building. That's going to be key from Wellington Apartments to Main Street, to be able to go through there, to get to the brewery, to get to the park behind B&Y Mellon. It'll be critical to that area. So I just want to express support on that and want to thank the developers for the thoughtful actions on this. With regards to the flooding, which was brought up earlier down on Air Force Road, DPW is now, they're going for their Army Corps permits for both North Creek and South Creek. Right now, the water that drains from Everett goes underneath Wellington Apartments and it gets pumped up to North Creek, which is further north towards Malden. What the DPW is going to be doing is opening up that area so it flows right into South Creek and then down into the Malden River. So that'll be key, and it won't have to get pumped up to North Creek. They're also dredging both North Creek and South Creek, and they're going to restore all the wetlands in there. So that's going to make a critical difference down there. It'll clean up that whole area. Just so you know, also we're doing, we have National Grid paying for Phragmites removal. We'll start treating the Phragmites next year, and that'll be all along South Creek, along the Bavarian property, and then all along the Malden River. So you'll have a complete view of the river and be able to see the crew teams out there working. So like I said, the mayor's priority is the waterfront, one of his biggest priorities. We've come a long way in the last couple of years, and it's been dramatic, and people are really enjoying it. So this is going to be a game changer, and I think you'll see what will happen is you'll have additional developers coming in and recognizing the value of the waterfront, which has been blocked off, inaccessible, polluted for all our lifetimes. So it's really made a big difference. So thank you for the opportunity to comment, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Philbin. Any other public commentary?
Madam Chairwoman, Michael McLaughlin, 9 Baldwin Place, Ward 6 City Councilor. Madam Chairwoman, I share in the comments of Mr. Philbin in the vision for that area down there. The mayor and I see eye to eye on that, and we are both excited to see that whole area change on there. A couple weeks ago, I came forward and asked for neighborhood input because as much as it's exciting times for that area, none of us have to live down there, and we need to make sure that the residents down there are satisfied with what's going to happen in their neighborhood. I want to thank Mr. O'Neill and Dan and the whole team from Lanai, because they worked closely with me over the last 2 weeks. We reached out to a tremendous amount of residents via phone calls and emails and so forth, and we were able to communicate closely with the residents, answer some of their questions, and get a lot of them to be excited about this project as much as we are excited for the future of that area down there. The residents were very open to the idea, but wanted to understand more of the project. And Mr. O'Neill and I were able to do just that, get them to understand the project. So a couple of weeks ago, I didn't want to just blindly give a letter of support or say that I was in favor of something without fully doing my due diligence and making sure that the people of Everett had the voice, they had their chance to voice their opinion, and they did that. So this evening, I would ask for favorable action on this piece because it is a game changer for not only Ward 6, but for the city of Everett, and the residents in the village area of the city are just excited now, as I am, and the mayor and the whole administration, to see this project move forward. So I ask for your consideration this evening in favor of this, and thank Mr. O'Neill and the team for all the due diligence and hard work they put forward the last few weeks to communicate with the residents and the neighbors, to be good neighbors down there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Okay, so at this time, are there any more questions from the board? Any more questions for public comment? Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the public portion and double check with the board. Do you guys have any more questions?
No, I'm all set.
Okay,
This time, Madam Chairman, I'll make the motion for favorable action, incorporating all of the conditions that were set forth by the planning board. And you already put the condition in about the sidewalk always being public access?
yes, and the other, I'm just going to read in the other part of the condition verbatim, and then you can continue with your motion. The applicant.
Well, I
shall-
can do that too. I mean, if you want me to do it, okay.
Yes, please, and that final sentence is important.
I have to get back to it now. Give me a minute. Okay, so verbatim, here it is. The first one is the applicant shall permit members of the public at all times to use and access all sidewalks and walkways constructed on the project site. That was one condition. And the second one is the applicant shall construct a pedestrian sidewalk along rear of project site on the westerly and northerly perimeter of the project site, providing access to Norman Street to Air Force Road. The applicant may, but is not required to install the sidewalk on the existing easement area on the west and north side of the project site.
Yep.
The final location and design of the sidewalk, including related plantings and landscaping, shall be submitted to and approved by the planning board. That should cover everything?
I believe so.
So that, all the conditions from the planning board, plus those two, favorable action.
So we have a motion for favorable action with the conditions presented. Is anyone going to second it?
Roger Dissel, second that motion.
And can I just clarify through you, Chair, that this is also subject to just finalization by city staff and
Yes,
as
yes.
necessary?
Well,
Sorry
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
I think Jim Sopa has final say anyway, even after we approve it, doesn't he? Make sure
Just to be
everything-
clear that there may be some just refinement of references to plans and such things once you vote.
I'm going to do it right now. The final location and design for the sidewalk, including related plantings and landscaping, shall be submitted to and approved by the planning department, and all plans will be subject to approval and inspection by the city. Is that okay, Robin?
Yeah, I just wanted to preserve that the decision as a whole will need to be finalized
Yep.
by city staff
Yep, by city
before it's
staff.
filed, just so that everyone's clear on that.
Robin, I have a question. When we do stuff like this, does it stay with the property for the life of the property?
As
These
long as it's
conditions?
used. Yes, as long as it's used. If the project never gets built, then no, it doesn't bind the property, but
But
as
if
long as. the
if
project-
they get this easement and sell
Yes.
off the project, it's still gonna follow to the next people, right?
Yes, it runs with the
Okay.
project. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
great question.
So we have motion for favorable action with all of those conditions and requirements, and we have, it has been made and it has been seconded. So could the clerk please call the roll?
John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes.
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Michael Dane Tone,
Yes.
and Mary Gerasi.
Yes, your petition has been approved and we will follow the COVID filing system and paperwork, which is normally 20 days, but right now under the governor's orders, things could be a little bit different.
And gentlemen, good luck down there. Make us
Walk
proud.
down there. It's a great project.
Thank you, Madam
Make us
Chairman.
proud.
Thank you,
Thank you,
members.
Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board.
Good night,
Much
everybody.
appreciated. Good night.
Madam Chairman, we can go back to new business.
Yes, you can. Okay.
Or you can.
Yep. Okay, so we're at new business and we're going to start with A, petition number 2472, Cambridge Health Alliance, which is looking for a variance regarding 100 Garland Street. Yep, 100 Garland Street, Everett, Mass. 02419. I can't even read today. Reason for denial, the applicant proposes to install one wall sign, 152 inches by 48, I believe, feet. There's not a marking there, mounted near the upper level of the, by 48 inches, mounted near the upper level of the parking garage located on the building at the address listed above. The building is located in the dwelling district, which does not allow for parking structure, and it was granted a variance in October 1976. The applicant must seek relief in the form of a variance from the City of Everett Ordinance's Appendix 12A, Sign and Billboard Section 53, Signs in Residential Districts. In any residential district as defined in the Everett zoning ordinance, there shall not be any sign except as follows. One sign not exceeding 2 square feet in total area, attached to the building or on a rod or post not more than 4 feet high and at least 3 feet in the front, in front from the street line, and stating only the street number and name of the occupant or occupants of the lot. B, one bulletin or announcement board, name, sign, or entrance marker for each church or institution not exceeding 20 square feet in area, except that if the street frontage of such church or institution exceeds 100 feet. One such sign for each 100 feet computed to the nearest 100, but in no event more than 3 such signs for each church or institution. C, one for sale or for rent sign, not exceeding 8 square feet in the area, advertising the property on which such sign is located. D, one building contractor's or developer's sign, not exceeding 32 square feet in total area on a lot where a building is actually under construction. E, one sign not exceeding 20 square feet per entrance to a tract of land divided into building lots. F, one sign accessory to a non-conforming use which conforms to a 15-53 provided, however, that the area of said sign does not exceed 1/2 of the area allowed in non-residential districts under said section. Okay, so at this time, the petitioner for number 2472, are you present?
Yes, David Farmer.
Mr. Farmer, before you start, Madam Chairman, can we take A and B together or they have to be separate?
Oh, it's a great question. Would you be comfortable with A and B together, Mr. Farmer?
Yes, I actually have the presentation set up that way.
So
Robin,
I
is
make
that-
a motion, we take both A and,
1 minute. Robin,
I'm
is that
sorry?
permitted? To do A and B together because it's the same petitioner? It's the same sign, it's 2 signs? You
she's
can-
muted. You're
Robin.
muted.
I had forgot. It's all one petition, correct?
It's 2
Well,
different,
there's an A and a B and they have 2 petition numbers.
can we merge them together for time's sake? Because they're,
Yeah, I just want to look at how they're set forth on the agenda. Give me 1 second.
okay,
The only thing, Mary, is you'll have to read all of that dissertation for B as well.
that's okay. I'd have to read it regardless either way.
Right, no, I mean, but before Mr. Farmer gets involved.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's fine if you want to say we're going to hear, the 2 requests for variances together where they apply to the same property. And then the board can decide when it comes time to vote, if you want to vote them separately.
Okay, so Mr. D'Antoni, could you make that motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we combine petition number 2472 and 2473 together, and that our vote will be for both pieces combined. In other words, instead of taking 2 separate roll calls, we'll just okay the whole project, both pieces.
Well, I mean, you can decide when it comes time to vote. There may be folks that feel, one way
Okay,
or.
okay, that's fine. For right now, I make a motion that we combine the two petitions together.
Roger Sisel, did you second that?
Second that.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
So the motion to combine petition number 2472 and 2473 together, it has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I'm going to read now petition, Part B, petition 2473, Cambridge Health Alliance variance regarding 103 Garland Street, Everett, Mass. 02149. Reason for denial: the applicant opposes to install freestanding sign 48 inches wide and 11 feet high at the corner of the lot at the address listed above, which is located in the dwelling district. The property is used as a hospital, which is an allowed use in the dwelling district per section 4 dwelling districts A uses line 7, but the sign is not permitted in this zoning district. The applicant must seek relief in the form of a variance from the City of Everett Ordinances Appendix 12A, sign and billboard, Section 53, signs in residential districts. In any residential district as defined in the Everett zoning ordinance, there shall not be any sign except as follows. A, one sign not exceeding 2 square feet in the total area attached to the building or on a rod or post not more than 4 feet high and at least 3 feet in from the street line, and stating only the street number and the name of the occupants of the lot. B, one bulletin or announcement board, name, sign, or entrance marker for each church or institution not exceeding 20 square feet in area, except that if the street frontage of such church or institution exceeds 100 feet, one such sign for each 100 feet computed to the nearest 100, but in no event more than 3 such signs for each church or institution. C, one for sale or for rent sign not exceeding 8 square feet in area, advertising the property on which such sign is located. D, one building contractor's or developer's sign not exceeding 32 square feet in total area on a lot where a building is actually under construction. E, one sign not exceeding 20 square feet per entrance to a tract of land divided into building lots. F, one sign accessory to a non-conforming use which conforms to 15-53, provided, however, that the area of said sign does not exceed 1/2 of the area allowed in non-residential districts under said section. Okay, so petitioner for number 2472 and 2473, if you're ready to speak and present, we're here.
Okay, my name's David Farmer from Cambridge Health Alliance, and we're at 1493 Cambridge Street, Cambridge, Mass. And then, oops, sorry. You see the screen?
Yes.
So we're proposing 2 signs on Garland Street. One on the parking garage, which is on the corner of Garland and Alpine. And this sign would be on the upper band of the parking garage, about 22 feet to the top. And the sign is 4 feet high, so it would be 18 feet to the bottom. And then across the street, we're proposing a directional sign. Again, that's in the yellow on the corner of Lawrence and Garland Street. And that's mainly to direct patients and visitors to the emergency department. The first sign I'm showing you is the sign that's being proposed for the Garland and Lawrence Street. It's, as I said, it's going to be 11-foot high sign, proposed 4 feet wide. The upper portion of the sign, which is 5 feet 4 inches high, would contain the directional to the emergency department, and to the right if you're at the main entrance of the hospital, or if you're approaching it from the other side of Lawrence Street, it would still be to the left. It would be to the left rather. That's demonstrated in the middle. The what you see in white is going to be lit, and so that will also on the top. I'll jump down to the next slide. So this is a drawing of, again, what it looks like during the day, but then at night you can see that the top portion of the sign is lit with the red being lit, indicating the emergency. so that it would be visible from the main entrance. We have a lot of people coming to the main entrance of the hospital looking for the emergency department. So this would be visible, and that's about 330 feet away from the sign. The bottom portion of it indicating, Cambridge Health Alliance, et cetera. It's much smaller letters, but is lit. So that's a nighttime view on the right. And this is the opposite side of the sign from the opposite side of Lawrence Street rather. Again, it would have a left turn arrow. And again, the upper part of the sign would be lit with the Cambridge Health Alliance in the middle. The bottom part would be dark. The sign is somewhat placed down on the grade, so that's so that the height is going to be a little bit lower as you get towards the Garland Street side with the 11-foot dimension on the higher side of the sign. The lighting, the lighting is the same on both sides. Each of those black dots indicate an LED light showing how, where the lighting is within the cabinet itself. And the cabinet of the sign is actually a foot deep. I didn't mention that. And we can adjust the lighting level. We're going to set it at 50% initially, but if it needs to be brighter or if it needed for some reason to be lower, it could go lower. But we have some current signage at the hospital, which we have 50% lighting lumens level, and that seems to be working out well. And again, this is just because of it's a wayfinding project that CHA has been working on system-wide. These are the details of the signs with the footing, et cetera. And then we had done a mock-up, and this isn't working out very well. I don't know how to reduce this. I don't know. I guess, I'm sorry, I do. We had done a mock-up back in the fall. And this is looking at the sign. It's not from the emergency, but I mean, it's more toward the end of the east building probably. But just showing, this would be the height of the sign, the 4-foot wide sign, and then the base would be below that. This was up for a few days, just for people to look at it. Staff. We're not sure if any neighbors saw it. We did have a neighborhood meeting last week, and there really wasn't any opposition to this, but and I'm not sure if there's been any other comments. And then this would be the other side of the sign. Again, from the other side of Lawrence Street. And then going back to, I lost my pictures. This would be the sign that's being proposed for the parking garage. It's about just slightly over 12 feet 8 inches wide. It's 12 feet 8 3/4, 4 feet high. And again, it's mounted on the upper deck of the parking garage toward the alpine side of the building. It's set back about 10 feet 9 inches from the property line. And the sidewalk at that point is about 6 feet. So, and again, there's a night view right here where all the white would be lit up. And again, with the showing the lighting in the back of the lettering, how that's laid out. And again, this is a sign, it's got 7650 lumens per face. Well, there's only one face on this one. And again, that could be, we're setting the illumination to 50% low. And the signage at on the garage is important to us. Right now, there's no signage really identifying the garage as you're approaching the hospital. The ED is further down the hill on Lawrence Street, which is a very small parking lot. So one, for, people parking in that lot, knowing that we have additional signage, and also for people coming to the hospital up Lawrence, which is how most people arrive, that the parking garage is there. And there is a sign on the corner that identifies it as part of Cambridge Health Alliance. There is another peace sign further down the street, just opposite the east building entrance, but it's not really visible in the corner, and it certainly would not be visible for people coming up the hill from Lawrence Street. And then, as I said, with the sign on the corner, it's important because of the, us having the two entrances and the mix, and we're trying to provide more clarity, providing some more simple signage, and as part of a wayfinding effort that we're doing to all of our emergency departments. Any questions?
So at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public portion of the meeting. Are there any people from the public that want to come to speak or came to speak, being called in? Mr. Farmer, could you just take down that centerpiece so we can see each other during the rest of the meeting?
Sure,
Thank you.
yeah. Sorry. But, can you see me? A little.
I think you just have to close out of your PowerPoint or your presentation.
Oh, stop check. There I am.
There you go.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
so at this
you're
time, I'd
welcome.
like to open the meeting to public forum. All those in favor or all those opposed, anyone willing to speak, or are there any letters been sent in that we don't know of?
Madam Chairwoman, Michael McLaughlin, 9 Baldwin Place. I had the opportunity yesterday to spend some time on Garland Street and Alpine and Lawrence Street in that neighborhood, talking with area residents and talked about the sign. And there was no concern. The sign that's located on the corner of Lawrence Street, parallel to that is actually the side of the building of the house on the corner of Garland Street, and across from there is just a solid.
We lost you, Mr. McLaughlin.
And hysteria and
Excuse me, Mr. McLaughlin, we lost you, so could you just repeat like the last 30 seconds?
I apologize. The signage is clearer for people that are going to the emergency room in a hostility environment. Unfortunately, if you go into the main entrance, it's very confusing on how to get to the emergency room from the main entrance on Garland Street. So better signage would just help people direct them to the emergency room so that they can get to their loved ones or to their family members, whoever they're going there for, or themselves. We have a lot of people that come from outside the city to our hospital. We are a community hospital that services multiple communities, not just the city of Everett. Most people here in the city of Everett probably know where the emergency room is just from driving up Lawrence Street, down Lawrence Street. But somebody coming in from Revere or Chelsea or one of the surrounding communities aren't as knowledgeable about how to get into the emergency room. So better signage is just going to help in that split second of somebody's life that they need to make a quick decision. That's going to help in that. The second signage on the parking lot side just faces coming up Lawrence Street. It's the side of the building. There's no impact to any residents. Basically the middle of Lawrence Street as you drive up the hill from Nickel Street, you'll see that sign, and it will help a lot of people that don't know that there's additional parking and end up parking on the adjacent streets around the hospital because they don't realize that there's a parking lot across the street if they're going for a doctor's appointment or whatever the reason they're visiting the hospital. So to notify them that there is a parking lot across the street, as the gentleman said, parking lot emergency.
We lost you again, Michael. Mary,
Yep, I'm here.
I'm not getting any of this.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, thank you for your input. We understand that's a lot of positive feedback. Any other public comment at this time? And one last call. Any other public comment? Okay, so at this time, I'm gonna just Mr. Farmer, do you have any last words to say before I open it up to the board?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to offer questions from the board, please.
Mr. Farmer, I have a quick question, please. If there was any problem with the lighting, whether it be too bright, too dark, something that's bothering the neighbors, there are adjustable, I like that. Would they contact you to
They would
complain about
contact
their
the-
issues?
Probably somebody at the hospital, a Christian Lamphere, who is the site administrator,
Okay,
has,
and he has access to the lights to be able to adjust them bright or darker, maybe?
Yeah, the facilities director would be
Okay.
the one to do it, but he has he's in touch with the community, and the community reaches out to.
Okay, as long as that doesn't become an issue.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be an issue.
Okay, that's it from me, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Farmer, I just think it's an excellent idea. I live in the area and great job.
Thank you.
Same
We put a
here.
lot of effort into it.
I know you did.
So with that, I would like to make a motion for favorable action. And again, I'll say we can combine the two votes into one, but the other members may feel differently.
Not at all.
Is everybody, are all the members okay with voting for petition number 2472 and 2473 combined?
Yes.
Say aye.
Yes,
Yes.
That's a yes for everybody? Aye, that's a unanimous aye. So Mr. D'Antoni, you're free to make your motion.
okay, so favorable action to both pieces? That's it.
Roger Driscoll, second the motion.
So there's been a motion of favorable action that both signs will be approved on petition 2472 and 2473, and it's been seconded. Roberta, could you please call the roll?
Yes. John Fraser,
Yes.
Roger Thistle,
Yes.
Paul Colometta,
Yes.
Michael Dantone,
Yes,
and Mary Gerasi.
Yes, your petitions, both 2472 and 2473 have been approved. There is a 20-day waiting period to file your paper, and you may not begin your work until the clerk files your paperwork. And there are 20 days. appeal.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Farmer, for staying in Everett.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great job.
Have a good night.
Hi, Robin, can I ask you a question?
Who do
Sure.
you-
Question from Ms.
Yeah.
Supa.
Is the 20-day letters okay to go out yet, or am I still holding off?
So again, we should be, and we talked about this before, you should be filing the decisions. It's up to
I
the
am.
applicant's counsel, and when you file, then notice that the decision's been filed needs to go to folks. And then it's up to the applicant and their counsel to figure out the application of the current court orders as to dates and deadlines and such things. And we can talk about it further offline if you want, but I mean, the decision should get
I'll
filed.
I'll leave you.
Notice of the filings.
Good night, Mr. Farmer.
Thank you.
And then applicants and their counsel need to figure out how these things apply to them right now, given the COVID situation.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Anybody want to second that?
Roger Driscoll, second that motion.
All right, there's been a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, and it has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, any other information right now that we need to know? Oh, I have a question. Roger,
Yes.
would you mind doing what you did with the signature forms again?
Not at all.
Roberta, are you good with that?
Yes,
That
And that
seems
was very easy. It worked well.
yes. I will send them to you tomorrow, Roger.
Okay.
so within the next day or so, guys, just be checking your emails adamantly to get those signed and returned right away, okay? It makes it go smoother and quicker. Does anyone else have any questions about anything?
Everybody stay healthy.
Yeah.
Our next meeting is, what is it?
July 6th.
June- What is it? July 6th.
Really?
No,
Not June 29th?
Oh, we got another 20.
we had two
June
meetings already. No, we've already had 2 meetings.
Really?
June
Hold
1st
on.
and June 15th.
15th.
Oh, yeah, look at
Oh,
that.
that's right.
July 6th. Man, you scared me, Mike.
Yeah, so
I
July,
scared myself.
so
That means we get a week off, I think.
so FYI, July 6th and July 20th, just in case people are planning. anything.
Well, we didn't lay anything on the table, so I didn't need to know that date.
No. But just, Guys, where there's zoning and where it's the summer, let's try to communicate really well, even myself included, if somebody's taking a vacation or gonna be away. because,
Nothing was continued.
not a
so
lot
we
of
only have one petition.
So in
You
July,
mean for the next one?
Tonight, so we only have one petition for July 6th.
Mary, I know July 20th, no good for me.
okay.
Okay,
Anyone else?
On July 6th for me, I'm gonna be away, but I can still get on Zoom. But for some reason, I only can be on for 1 hour, then it kicks me out, then I gotta sign
Only
in.
one petition.
So we only have one petition, so,
We'll get us out quick.
I think we'll get us out quick. Is it a
That's
big
what
one?
happened. That's what happened last
Um,
time.
I can
No.
let you know tomorrow. I want to believe it's 881 Broadway. I think I have.
It's not 881. I live at 881.
No, it's not. It's something Broadway.
Oh, is it the Pope John address, 888?
Actually, it might be 881. It might be for an antenna.
Yeah, it's
It might be for my building. I'll have to recuse myself.
I'll email you tomorrow,
So-
Mary, and let
So
you
we
know,
need
but it's
to
only
get
one.
out, Paul, because if Mike has to recuse himself because he lives in that building, then you'll definitely
Yeah, I'll
have,
let you know. I'll let you know. I forget.
all right? So,
Plus, I'm a trustee here. There's no way I could be part of that meeting.
oh, God, no.
Right.
So we'll make sure we text
It is
or whatever,
881.
we'll get
Okay.
that information soon,
so
okay?
Mary, when is the next date, hon?
July
June
6th.
6th. July 6th,
Okay,
And then July 20th is the second one in that.
6
one,
and 20. Okay,
Okay?
I'll put it
Okay.
on my calendar.
all right.
Have a great
All right,
night.
guys.
All right, guys.
Pauline.
Good night,
thank you.
everybody. Stay safe.
Are you guys gonna vote to adjourn?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Robin.
I'll second that motion.
You do without
Motion
her.
to adjourn, Mr. Secretary, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, guys.
Now, good night.
I'm done today. It's been a long, long day for me.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, bye.
Everyone, thanks again for everything.
Bye, honey.